Welcome to Indian Tech Icon Spotlight, the Bay Area chapter, Silicon Valley, the technology capital of the world. Today, we have our guest Sunil Chauhan with us. Sunil comes with 25 years of experience and more into software services industry. So he has worked into several different verticals and has helped the businesses and their clients to reach their business outcomes. We will dive into his career journey and we'll hear more from Sunil. Welcome to the show, Sunil. Pleasure to have you here.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Okay, let's get going. So, Sunil, you come with a tremendous background of 25 plus years into software services industry, and I'm sure that this is going to be a lovely conversation. Listening from you, what it means when you look from outside these industries, these businesses. Starting with what you do today, tell us about how you go about what you do in terms of when you look at the businesses and the customers. Tell us a little more like what it looks like from your side.
Okay. So right now I am leading a team of professionals who help the customer meet their business objectives. Let me start again. Okay. So Sachin, thank you for having me on the show. Right now in my role, I work with customers trying to match the different technologies and platforms, like particularly enterprise application platforms like SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, ServiceNow, match them to meet the customer business needs as such. So it does involve a very detailed interaction with the customer to really understand what their business is, what is it that they're trying to achieve, and then finding the right technology tools and platforms to help them reach their objectives in a very impactful way.
So when we talk about the objectives, is it something that customer tells you that this is their end goal, or like what's that entire journey looks like?
So it works both ways. Sometimes customer comes to us with a specific business problem. They are trying to shorten their time to market. They're trying to get more optimized, or they're trying to do some kind of a innovation into the process that they're doing. Many times our team also looks at the trends into the market and they try to figure out what trend will help a particular customer be even more, like either bring their revenue growth or reduce their cost, or any kind of such objectives. So sometimes we go to the customer with a very proactive offering saying that this is what we have, we feel that this would benefit you. And many times customer comes to us saying that, okay, we have a problem, do you have a solution? And most of the time these problems are not something that can be solved by out of the box platform. So that is where our team, our domain experience and other things come into play, because then they figure out what is the best way of achieving that objective in the shortest possible time and giving the customer the result that they're looking for.
So as a leader, like when your team looks into all this, like how do you navigate through this as a leader? Because everybody in the team comes with a different mindset, different skill set. How do you stitch all this together as a leader?
That's a very good question. So I do have some very talented individuals who work for me. Each one of them have very good depth in the platform that they work from. Most of them have been hands-on practitioners. So they have worked with different customers. They understand the strengths and weaknesses of each tool. The idea is to bring that outside in view of how do you use those things and meet the customer objective, right? So the role that I generally play is I have to play the impartial leader, saying that, okay, why one platform is better than the other for this particular customer, because it is not one size which fits all, right? So that is where a little bit of interaction, little bit of collaboration between the different individuals comes into play. And me having a different experience in my industry, as well as I have myself worked in Oracle and Salesforce in the past, I am able to bring my past knowledge into play and help them, coming to a solution that we feel is the best fit for the customer.
Wonderful. So now that's a good segue actually, going back in time when you were working in Oracle and Salesforce. Now, if you look at the market today, it's changing a lot. So what's your take on the changes that you're seeing now? There are AI, people talk about generative AI, agentic AI. Back in days, plain and simple tools, you just go business applications essentially right now, but there is a lot more intelligence. What's your take on that?
So the industry has evolved a lot in last few years. I will give you that. There used to be a time where people used to take a a platform that is like best in the business, and they will implement the platform across. Like we used to call them best of suite as such. But over a period of time, each platform has got some strength and some weaknesses, and which applies to a particular industry. So a lot of small companies have come through, smaller platforms, which fill that gap, which does a piece of the puzzle much better than the overall platform does, right? And that is where we as an SI, because we work with all the different platforms, we understand how to mesh these things together, right? So right now the trend is more about best of breed kind of thing, where you pick up best pieces from the different tools and make them work together. And this does require a lot of planning and fit, so that they work seamlessly with each other and they do not work in silos as such. That is one. The second thing is, with cloud becoming very important, duration of the project or the time to the market has really come down a lot. It used to be that most of this project will take 2-3 years to do. So by the time you finish it, you'll realize that the requirement is already outdated. But with cloud, we are able to implement it faster using configuration rather than doing a lot of customization. And so the duration and the time to market is shorter, and the realization of benefit is faster. Right? Now, the latest trend that is coming up, there's a lot of Gen AI that is coming in, right? And we are working with many customers to see how we infuse Gen AI. So each of the platform has also put in some Gen AI, which we use. But Tech Mahindra as a system integrator also has some, the tools that we develop on those platforms. And we use this Gen AI to see how we can implement it faster. Or if it is already implemented, can we use some of these Gen AI tools to streamline it, to bring even more efficiency, so that we can do same amount of work with a lesser amount of work. So that is what is going through the market right now. And I think this thing is going to even evolve further as we go forward.
So now that you have experienced right from on-prem to cloud to now AI, and your views around AI, that it's coming, and you are trying to implement those AI tools and bring the AI capabilities into the tools, how does the customers and their confidence looks like, and are they really acceptable to that, or it's just a buzzword right now? So, what do you see where that's going?
I would say in the past 12 months, people have really bought into this AI story. And there are, like with most of our customers, we are working on some kind of either a project or a proof of concept on that. So it is no longer a hype, but it definitely is something that is going to come. One of the major reasons for that has been the advent of the compute power which is there. So a lot of things that we could think but we could not actually execute because of the limitation of the hardware or the machines. Now that limitation has reduced to a large extent. So I see a lot of adoption happening. Right now it is more into the front-ending things like customer success, customer interaction, UI, UX. There's a lot of AI that we are using in automation as well as in coding. But as we go forward, I think it will get more and more smarter as we go forward. And we can use it, if not to do the whole thing, but at least get everything together so there is somebody who can look at it, validate it, and then move it forward. So overall, the whole, the things that we can achieve in a particular time frame is going to dramatically reduce going forward.
So that will definitely help with the productivity, the first thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's because we have been hearing about it a lot, and it's really good to hear perspective of different leaders, how they think about these things. And it seems like everyone almost is aligned on this thought that yes, it's coming and it's going to go big. And it is going to certainly help the customers and the clients and the businesses in terms of a lot of things that they can eliminate, which is redundant, and focus productivity.
I would say it will definitely increase the efficiency. I don't think it's going to replace things. Some people think that once the AI comes, we won't need human at all. I personally don't believe in that. I believe a combination of AI plus human creativity is something that would be the most strong combination going forward. We'll always require a human thing over there.
Absolutely, because this is for humans, right? You cannot eliminate humans out of things that are being built for humans. Otherwise, it will be all machines, right?
Yeah.
We are too far from that era.
Hopefully.
Okay, so now going back in time a little bit, maybe share something about your career defining moment, or that moment when you said, okay, maybe this is something I want to do, because you started your journey, or maybe we can take a step back and go to your college days, how it was, and then at what moment it was like, this is my career defining moment and this is what I want to do. Could be right after college, could be few years into your career. Talk about that.
Well, in terms of career defining moment, I don't know. So the way it worked out for me was like as if everything fell in place. Right from my childhood, I was good with math and physics as such. So, and I was always curious about electronics in my childhood. So getting into the engineering stream was like a natural order for me. And actually, I'm an electronics engineer. So that's what I did my undergrad and master's in. And just as I was graduating from college, this whole software service industry was like rapidly expanding as such. So even though as an electronics engineer, I did get an opportunity to work in a software consulting firm, and I picked it up. And I've realized that over a period of time, actually software is now there in every walk of life, whether you take a car, whether you take a home automation, everywhere software is there. And I was lucky enough to get into it right at the start. Now within the company, right, I was again very privileged that I got to experiment with things as the things were changing, because things have changed a lot since I started my career till now, right? But being in a big company helped me, experiment and explore the different roles or different technologies. And my company gave me a lot of such opportunities. So that way, I have like a pretty linear career path. That way, there's been no dramatic shift. But within that, I have done all kind of roles, right from development to tech leadership to client relationship management. I've even done a little bit of partnership management. So I have played most of the roles within the technology services side of it.
Interesting. I think spending a long tenure in a company, sometimes people do think that, one could become stagnant or may not grow. It seems like you have shown a tremendous growth as well in your career, meaning obviously you were getting different opportunities and you were doing it, and probably doing it pretty successfully. Tell us about that transition that was happening during, that phase of your career when you were coming out of one and then going into some other technology, and then the technology is evolving, you're learning new things. Like, what was the drive? Like, was it the drive from within inside, or was it like coming from certain instance, like, company wants you to do it, or it's like mix of, like, tell about that.
So, see, initial part of my career, I was actually the first 12 or 15 years, I think I was always working out of customer side, right? I was hardly into my organization. So I used to align myself more with my customer than with my company. And so that way I used to do whatever they were doing over there, and it gave me a very good insight as to how does the customer think, what is their culture, what are their business needs, how do they look at the problem, because from the services side we are only looking at how to fulfill that need, right? So I got a pretty good view over there. As a person, I actually I enjoy a challenge, but whenever I get an assignment or a role, my instinct is to how do I optimize that role so that I create some free time for myself. And every time I got a new role, I have looked at it, I worked hard on it, I have optimized it either by removing some inefficiencies or by empowering some of the people under me, helping them grow. And the idea is, I should get about 30% of my time free. Once I get a 30% of my time free, I have always gone to my boss and said, hey, I'm free, give me something. And typically when you go to boss and ask for something, he gives you the hardest problem that he's facing, right? So then when it comes up again, my workload increases, but then I look at the problem again, I try to do it. So that has been the way I have grown. And that is also been the way that I have learned new things, because like I said, you get something which is hard to solve. So then you get into it, you learn, you do it. And that is how my career has kind of progressed. Even when I have shifted roles, it is because that there was a need and they said, okay, you are a good problem solver. Let's bring you in and see what you can do over here. So
it's a natural ability to look at things and try to solve those problems that you see. And I think it's quite obvious that, though that kind of attitude gives you more avenues to go and explore as well. Now, having a successful career, I'm sure that you may have had your own challenges also during this time frame. Tell us about something which is interesting challenge that you may have faced. Success, failure, I think it doesn't matter so much, but the challenge that our audience will get to learn from, something that, how a person at that leadership role thinks and navigate through, or it could be when your earlier career problem also, that's fine too, but it just give that story that, because all of us have something, right?
Yeah.
Having lived in this career so long, so it will be good for our audiences to know.
During my career, the software service industry is a very cyclic business. It has its own ups and downs. In this career, I've gone through two major recessions. One is like Y2K, after post Y2K, one is in 2010.
2008,
right?
yeah.
2008 to 2010. So our business has shrunk and changed, and with the advent of new technology also it has done. I think all of those posed challenges, and only thing that kept me going over there is I believe is the attitude, right? I always take challenge as something that is a problem to be solved, right? And having the resilience, having the belief that you can solve the problem is what it does.
That goes back to the core of your own thinking, right?
Yes.
Solving the problem.
Yes. So that way, so there has been some ups and downs in my life also. I was in US for a long time. Then I had a personal challenge. I had to go back to India. I've grown in India, but working in India takes a very different kind of skill set than working in US. So learning those, adapting, and then overcoming those. I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to really show success over there. And then again, it got rewarded by getting me a promotion, getting me into a better role that I was looking for. So all those things have really worked out well. If I really look at a problem which I think most of us deal with, and we all try to solve it in different ways, it's more on the work-life balance, right? When laptop and cell phone came, it made our work easier, but it also expanded our work boundaries, right? So the biggest challenge I have had is how do you balance your work and life? You are obviously you want to do the best for your organization, you want best for your own career growth, but you should not ignore your family. And that is where I have had my most challenges, and that is where I have also been very lucky to have a spouse who's been very, very supportive. She has moved countries along with me whenever I have to change. She has been a good sounding board when I have some issues. And she has helped me raise a good family, all the while balancing her own career at the same time. So I would say that to be a much bigger problem than the things that I faced on the professional front.
No, that's, I think, the contribution of the spouse, the family members never go unnoticed, because seldom we talk about them, I think, but they are the driving force most of the time in whatever we do or wherever we are. So congratulations to you on having such a wonderful family that stand behind you, and I'm sure that you are doing your bit to support them, giving your time as much as you want to give to your clients and your company.
I try.
So now, since you're talking about the family, what is Sunil outside of work? Is it like more outgoing, traveling? Like what's your interest?
So outside of work, there are two things which I really enjoy doing. I have always been active in sports, and I've played most of the sports that are there in some phase of my life or the other, right? Whether it is cricket, tennis, and soccer, field hockey. Now with the advancing age, it is now more of a golf and hiking that I do. And the second thing which I'm really passionate about is meeting with friends. I have a very great circle of friends and look at every opportunity to meet up. And so that is what I do. That is the best stress breaker, like to unwind after a hard week.
Yeah, friends are always something very close to heart. They do give that comfort. So sports, you're saying that you now more into golf and hiking. Are there any hiking plans?
Yes, so this year I did one of the iconic hikes in Bay Area called Half Dome.
Oh wow, you did that, okay.
Yes.
Amazing.
So I did that, so that gave me a lot of confidence. So now trying to be a little more ambitious, going to Mount Kilimanjaro and some of the other ones in the coming years.
That's amazing. So now going back to your college days, when back in days, I think the computer science was not, it was an upcoming industry and it was not as popular. So what was the moment when you thought that we want to switch into the computer science area? Like what was that moment, how that actually came to you?
So, like I said, I did my undergrad in electronics, and then I went to BITS Pilani to do my master's. That was also in electronics and control. Till that time, I was like, okay, I love electronics and I want to build a career in electronics. But BITS Pilani was a very different experience altogether. It's as you know, it's a very premier institution. The professors that we had there were the ones who wrote the books, so we had that kind of educators for us. But more importantly, for the first time, I was out of my hometown. First time I interacted with all the smart people who came from all over India over there, all walks of life. Working with them really opened my mind in terms of what is possible, because I realized that I was like very close-minded till that time. And at BITS Pilani is where we started understanding that computer is becoming all-inclusive in everything that we do. We actually participated in a challenge by Motorola where they wanted us to build something on top of an electronic device. And that gave me the first taste of how powerful software is going to be. And that is where, I feel that is where I started getting more interested on the software side as compared to hardware side. And like I said, my first job was in a software consulting firm. And then after that, there's been no looking back.
From that till now, software has evolved, as we talked earlier. How do you see the power of AI defining the shape of this service industry? Because now the landscape might totally change. Don't know how it's going to look like, but since you're sitting there, probably you have a better vision. So how do you see this evolving from here?
See, if I look at future as I see now, I think the old model of skill augmentation, offshoring, all those things is not going to be very relevant going forward. It is going to be an era of hyper specialization, vertical focus. Customers are already starting to talk to us about an outcome-based model rather than a staff augmentation or capacity-based pricing model. They are looking at how are we going to help them, achieve their goals as such. So if I look at the future of the industry, I think we also have to change our business model of not just augmenting capacity, but bringing thought leadership to the customer, products to the customer that will serve their needs, become a little more productized and having that deep skill in each domain and each vertical going forward.
Whatever the AI or anything is bringing today, people will have to figure out a way that where they can add more value to it. Is that how you look at it?
Exactly. So I always encourage my team members to look at the think like a customer rather than think from a technology. That is one of the biggest shortcomings that we had initially when I joined the things. I used to always think about, okay, this is the technology, what can I use it for? But once you start looking from the other lens, like, okay, this is a business problem which I want to solve. Okay, now what technology can I use, right? That is where some of these, solutions comes to your mind, where you infuse like AI into some project or use some particular stack of product that helps you do that. So when you start looking that way, it gets done. But like I said, because of the AI and all, the productivity and other things are changing so much that customer will say, I have this problem, I'll pay you X amount of dollar for this, do it for me. And it doesn't matter whether I take 1% or 100%, right? Right now, the model is the other way around, where, okay, you need this, I need 10 people, this is how we will service you.
So basically not limiting the problem by the technology, but rather than exploring the technology to solve the problem holistically.
Yes,
that's a very good way to look at it, because yes, I do see sometimes we get stuck with what we got at hand and we don't maybe we say that we have a limited resources, but that's probably not true in today's era. That's so good to know. Now, I do want to touch upon a few more things, and that's mostly around, we talked about the work, we talked about your past life. Tell me about your childhood when you were growing up. We would want to know what kind of Sunil it was, because by the time you come to college, you have something, that you're defined pretty much. But prior to that, what it was like?
So I'm youngest of my family. So naturally I was very naughty. I was, all my elder siblings used to, protect me or always indulge me, I would say. So that way I had a pretty happy childhood. Most of my siblings are very accomplished in education side, right? So that's why getting a degree was like a no-brainer, in the sense it was not even a question, and everybody has to get a degree. Most of my siblings are like multi-degreed as such. The benefit I got with them is, I could learn from their experiences. I could learn what they're doing, and I've seen if it like, if I like that or not. And I always had the freedom to choose the path that I do. So I'm the first engineer from my family, but they let me do because this is what I wanted.
So if I have to ask you one quick question, and without thinking, if you want to answer that, would you like to travel back in time or go in future to see?
I would like to go back in time.
And may I ask why?
Because I believe I did have a pretty good time, right? So I would like to relive that for once. And of course, there are a few places where, I may do some things little different, which may not change the outcome too much, but I think there are always some places where you feel that, okay, maybe I should have done this differently.
It's interesting. Yeah, sometimes we do feel like that. In terms of, so we talked about going back in time, that's something maybe defines, maybe you don't want to charter into something.
Not that way. See, whatever is coming in future, I'm anyway ready for it. I'm living it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if I look at so I'm not, I know whatever is coming in future will come. But the past has been a happy place for me, so I'll always like.
No, because I was thinking like, if somebody asks me this question, I will probably give the same answer, because I mean, as you said, I don't want to go and look at future, because it comes when it comes, and we will deal with it. It's not that. So that's why I was saying that I don't want to charter there, because it's going to come anyway.
Yeah.
But going back in past, certainly yes. So now, we talked about everything around your personal life. Now, as a leader, what is that message that you want to give to the budding leaders? Something that will define their career, their life. One piece of advice. Everyone has something. What's your mantra? What's that piece of advice that you want to give to the audiences who are listening to us?
See, my mantra, like I said earlier also, it's always to be positive, right? Problems will come. Challenges will come, good things will also come. You just need to accept it and find, if there's a problem, you figure out how to overcome those. Look at it as something to solve, rather than as a speed breaker or a career blocker as such, right? Because there's no problem that you could not solve if you put your mind to it. I have some advice for the technologist as such. Right now, like a lot of people are really going into new technologies. They're learning new things. I would recommend that they use the T-skill method that we have, which means you have depth in one technology, one domain, right? Whether it is AI, ML, whether it is cybersecurity, whether it is cloud, right? Go deep into it, learn it well. But also have a broad vision to look at the adjacent things also. So do not be laser focus on just one thing, because once you have depth and you have the ability about the surrounding things, for example, UI, UX or business domain or things, you become a much better, technologist because of that.
Well said. That's a great advice for the budding people who are wanting to scale their career into technology aspect and also into the leadership. It was such a pleasure talking to you, Sunil. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure that our audiences will get a lot of insights from your thinking, and it was such a wonderful time spending here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.